Hey y'all, it's your girl Claudia Jordan, and we're back with TGIF. We're here to spill the tea and break down the biggest headlines in the news and on social media. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to sip this hot tea. Please welcome Al Reynolds. What's up, Al?
What's going on, Claudia?
Hey, ready for the show today. And please welcome Armand Wiggins. What's up, Armand?
What's going on? Another day, another show. I'm ready to get into it.
Another day, another dollar. Okay, well, y'all good today? Everybody's good?
I'm good because I'm drinking.
Oh, we love a drinking Al. Maybe we should coordinate it so then, because I'm not drinking today, so maybe we should coordinate it. You text me when you're drinking so I could drink with you next time.
Okay, so I'm usually drinking when I have to teach.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, let's get into these topics. We have a lot to cover, and the soulmate's been dying to hear our thoughts on these. Producer Loose Cannon recently claimed that he walked in on Diddy having sex with Reginald VelJohnson, who played Carl Winslow on Family Matters. That's what he said, not what we said. Take a look.
Like when Diddy, Carl Winslow, we was at the party. I hear just wearing out. I'm like, huh? Like hearing that, I'm like, on 6-0, who's wearing this bitch out? Right. Kicking the door. I seen Carl Winslow. Diddy came back and he was telling me, he was like, it's nothing more enjoyable than having a man do something for some money.
What are your thoughts? And do you think it's time to stop exposing people's sex lives if it's consensual? Al, what do you think about this?
I don't know if I'm ready for the exposing people's sex lives to be over just yet. Now, whether it's consensual or not consensual, but I will have to say in this particular case, I just don't believe it. I got to be honest. I don't believe this, but let's just, for the benefit of the story, say that it did happen, or let's just entertain what he's saying. Now I understand why TD Jakes could be added to the chat, because Winslow looks like TD Jakes, doesn't he? So, maybe Diddy allegedly has a type. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of everything.
I love TD Jakes, so I can't do TD like that. But,
But
I'll just say this. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny, to be honest. Now, I don't know if I believe it. My whole thing is, so you wouldn't kick the door down. I just think he's a great storyteller, as he's a comedian. So, they just know how to tell a story. But I mean, that at the same time, it is a little bit wild. Like Diddy, Carl Winslow, that's a random link up. So, like to kind of put those two together, it's like, where would you pull that from? So there could be some truth to it. I mean, I feel like something has happened with Diddy and men at this point, because everybody has a story, but at the same time, everybody has a story. So we don't know if it's actually true.
going from J-Lo to Mr. Winslow, I don't know.
You want to
y'all.
be messy? Go ahead and be messy.
Yes, get it out.
If it's consensual, why are we reporting on it? But it's just, I think it's such a ridiculous story. But I will say this, if y'all want them on the show, Charisse and Loose Cannon, she wants to come on the show. She's actually hit me up. So we could ask them themselves and they can maybe further explain this. But like saying you're an eyewitness to this, and I really want to know, like, I would ask him, if you were there with a girl, like, why did you kick in the door when you heard the male sex noises? Like, why did you kick in the door? Like, if I'm at someone's house, I wouldn't kick in someone's door of someone else's house. Now, if I hear those noises at my house, I'm kicking the door, waving the fo-fo. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about kicking in someone. Do you believe the story? Do y'all believe it?
Oh, I just said I don't believe it.
I don't really believe it either.
I think there's such a bandwagon now because, like, of course, there's this whole thing, right? Like, it was, and then I saw it, but then there are a lot of things that are in people's closets. But if it's consensual, tell me about the abuse. But this is just such a ridiculous story. It might be true.
I just want to know, like, if he's going on a podcast telling bold-faced lies, if it's not true, this is a bold-faced lie, and he's not only telling a lie, but he is inferring that Diddy has sex with men.
Right.
So to me, I would be infuriated. I would be very upset if he's not only telling a lie as far as who I had sexual relationships with, but then also to try to say that I am also gay and I am into men. Those are two different offenses. I just don't, is he that bold to go down that route with Diddy right now because he may be vulnerable, or why would he open himself up to possible defamation?
And I was talking to my lawyer today about defamation because, again, I had another incident, right? And my lawyer was saying that legislation actually needs to be changed because there's a different standard, a higher standard when you're a
Celebrity
public figure. Yeah, like you can get away with saying a lot more stuff about public figures, where the average person on the street, they really can have a much stronger case for defamation. And that's why when people say, well, if it's a lie, then why are they not suing? It's so hard to really prove defamation. Actual damages you have to show. It's really hard. Like, and damage isn't just being embarrassed on the internet. It has to be more than that, right? So I don't know. What were we going to say, Armand?
And well, let me just add to what you're saying. And as far as that, in some cases, like what we've seen, you know, the celebrity or the public figure suing the nobody or the lesser person, all it does is end up benefiting that person somehow in the long run. So you spend all this money to go to court just for this person to get some clout, because that's all it usually ends up being about anyway. But
they be so happy that you actually acknowledge them after all these years, and they're like, oh my God, and then they screenshot when you block them, and it's like, that's another flex. And I got under your skin. That's another flex. Right. We have some comments. Same one who claimed he was with Shawnee O'Neal. Oh yeah, that's what he did say. Beulah Jonas said, this Diddy saga is getting too much. I am tired of it. And Joseph Savage said, so who's the top and who's the bottom? Jay Scott said there's going to be a cease and desist issued real soon.
Oh, that was what I was going to say real quick. I think that people are kicking Diddy's back in because they feel like, honestly, there is probably no coming back for his career. So any allegiance that you had with him or any fear that you had of him being a gatekeeper or taking opportunities away from you, you're at this point like, let me get in and kick him while he's down because he can't do anything for me anymore. Diddy's career is pretty much done and is tarnished at this point. So I think people now just don't even care about, that relationship or burning that bridge. So they're just going to do what they have to do to get their engagement up.
Yeah, a lot of backs getting kicked in 2024. All right. Number one draft pick, Caitlin Clark, turned down Ice Cube's $5 million deal to play basketball in the Big Three League and accepted a deal with the WNBA to make about $80,000 a year guaranteed. Do you think that was a good career move? And what will it take for women's basketball players' salaries to increase? Armand, what do you think?
I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. So from last time we talked about this, I'm assuming that, they're doing this because it's going to be like an exposure thing and they're probably going to get bigger brand deals, which is going to compensate for the money that they would make other places. Like, that's the only thing I could wrap my mind around, because I don't see why you would take this deal if it's not going to make you any money. So it has to be like a brand deal kind of thing. That's what I'm assuming. So I don't know. As far as women's basketball, I do feel like it's on the rise right now. So I don't know what it's going to take for them to get more money. Maybe more sponsors, more star athletes, maybe more interest in the sport from the fans. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's heading in the right direction because, we've had a lot of interest in women's basketball the last few years, way more than we've seen in the past. So hopefully we're on the right track. Unfortunately, when it's a white woman that is a star player, it seems that that's when people want to fight the injustice, because Cheryl Swoops and a whole bunch of other people have been balling in the WNBA for a long time. But now we have this young white girl going in, and now it's like, we've got to fix this pay disparity. What do you think about this, Al? Do you think women's basketball will ever kind of catch up, or not catch up to WNBA?
Well, it's come a long way, Claudia, and I do think it's going to catch up. But going back to what Armand said, Armand, you hit it directly on the head. It's about brand association. We know that the NBA is who funds the WNBA, and it's the association with the NBA, right? And that brand that will bring you bigger endorsement deals and partnerships. So that's why these young ladies have decided to go with that brand, because they know they can still keep their Nikes, they can still keep their their Goldman Sachs, they can still keep their Beats by Dre. All of those brands are very eager to be in bed with the NBA one way or the other, and because the WNBA is an extension, they're able to then do a brand association, and that's what they're counting on as it relates to these new ladies. Now, the way that you get their salaries up, because you think about it, they only play 40 games and they do that in a 4-month period, where the NBA plays 80 games and they do that in a 6-month period. You have to get the viewership up. And I think women's sports have done an excellent job in the last 2 years in getting their viewership up. So I see very soon the salaries, falling in line shortly.
Women's soccer, women's basketball, definitely getting more eyeballs on it. Definitely women's track and field. That's always been a thing. Let's get to some of these comments. Here for Fun said, smart decision. What is the Big Three League? Big Three League is pretty good. Bougie Barbie said, not sure I understand her move, but good luck to her. Sneaker Queen said, Ice Cube crazy thinking she was going to play for him. And Here for Fun said, no one dreams of being on the Big Three League. They dream to be in a recognized league like the WNBA. And Plain Jane, one last one, said, it's so sad that women are paid so much less than men in basketball. Men's deals are millions and women can't even get close to 1 million. Y'all can't, it's not even 100,000 for 1 year. That is nuts. You can be on YouTube doing podcasts and make more than that. And you guys put your bodies through so much. All right. Social media reacts to finding out that Vietnamese property tycoon Trong My Land was sentenced to death for a $27 billion fraud scam. One user wrote, in the United States, this same individual could be running for president. And another commented, Trump is complaining about not getting a fair trial. I got no problem if they move it to Vietnam. Do you think sentencing her to death is extreme? Al, what do you think?
Listen, she frauded this country out of $12.5 billion. Personally herself. Now, her companies as a whole frauded them out of $27 billion, which is a huge portion of their GDP. Now, the thing that we know about Vietnam is Vietnam has worked very hard to become very competitive. In fact, they are the fastest growing economy in Asia and expected to catch up with China. However, she's put a big dent in this. And one thing that we know about the Vietnamese is that they view fraud and embezzlement the same as rape and killing someone. So she knew what the chances were. Now, the funny part about her was she overtook a bank. She created all these shell companies, a total of 10 shell companies, funded them all with billions of dollars. They were really, the bank was funding her. Then she bankrupted the bank and kept the money. This woman, this is probably one of the largest and biggest schemes, not only in the world, but in the history of all countries, So I think, in addition, you got to remember, Vietnam has a very high suicide rate, and throwing these people and families and a large portion of them into bankruptcy caused a great deal of depression and suicide. So they're like, listen, if you're trying to do this and kill us as a country, then you deserve the death penalty.
All right, what do you think?
I'm just proud to be an American at this moment. You know what I'm saying? Because this is crazy. To kill this woman over, the fraud, the $12 billion. I get it. It's a lot of money, and I probably would want to do the same thing, but it's a little bit excessive for me. I don't think that she should be killed, but some of those Asian countries, they don't play around, and they don't really they don't have an affinity for women like that. So any excuse to get another woman out of there and get another male soldier, they'll get rid of her.
Click. You know what? Yeah, they wild out over there in Asia. Okay, but let's not act like a crackhead won't kill someone for $500 if you ask them to. Like in America, people are getting killed for less money. But I'll say this. Disrupting that many people's lives. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten scammed for money. I definitely have, in the six figures as well. It is devastating, and you really can't breathe, and you just don't know if I'll ever get that money back. And it really could drive you. Yes, you could be very depressed. Maybe you don't have a way to get that money back. And imagine all those people's lives that were affected. I mean, yeah, death is extreme, but you kind of almost brought others to. I mean, you could have caused the death of other people, starvation, just. Depression.
Well, Claudia, it's funny that you said that, because 40,000 Vietnamese individuals claim that they have been affected by this, by her action, and some to the tune of suicide. So if she's killing that, or not killing because she's not doing it specifically, but if the offshoot of her fraudulent and embezzlement is causing this high level of death and suicide in the country, who's held responsible for that? Just like in your case, Claudia, was the bank really held responsible besides cutting you a check? What was it, for $230? Did
Oh, and
that
I get
change?
that other fraud with the Wells Fargo with my loan. Yeah, that was $300 for losing a $700,000 home
Home.
with predatory lending, but that was a whole nother scam. I've had quite a few. It's amazing that I'm still here, but yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of fraud, and it was devastating for me as well. I think we're kind of spoiled in America because we're like, well, it was only financial, and I think we have a different mentality here because we have people that are still walking amongst us. I mean, we have a presidential candidate that doesn't pay people back lots of money. He's ruined a lot of businesses, and half the country wants him to be president again. So we have a different attitude here. Lashana Monique said, I've always said that the highest paid people's, wait, I'm sorry. I've always said the highest paid people all get money through some level of fraud. And our dog said, why would they send her to death? They should send her to labor camp and make her work off the debt making license plates. And then Dex in the city, oh, you from the streets, Dex, said, hell, I'd be ready to take someone out over $20. And Dr. Larry, don't get nervous, soulmate, said, imagine if the government treated y'all PPP people like this. Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Listen, if you did your PPP for one person and you only have one person in your company, you're good. It's when y'all try to get greedy and say, oh, I got 10 employees, 50. That's when you messed up. All right, coming up next, find out the men, Keyshia Cole, and Little Kim are dating, and later find out how far one woman went to find love. Keep it here.
Scene 103, take one.
I thought we'd be on the same page about this, and we're not.
How do I know the way I'm gonna respond to it?
I want you to get the vaccine because I want you to be safe.
What if you end up in the hospital? That's what I'm scared of.
If you was to die, man, that would literally kill me, man.
I hug you.
Yeah. If it made you feel that way, bro, I'll probably do. I love you, man. I love you too.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Welcome back to TGIF. All right, y'all, we have two new couple alerts. All right, it's being reported that Keyshia Cole, who is 42, is dating rapper Huncho, and Lil Kim, who is 49, is dating rapper Ty Brown. But everyone is not cheering since both women are being accused of grooming their boyfriends who are only 24 years old. Now, is this considered grooming, do you think? And what do you think prompted this trend of older women dating these much younger guys? Let's go to the young guy in the panel. Armand, what are your thoughts?
you know what? At first, I was just kind of like, I was hating, because I wasn't with it with the Drea, getting pregnant by the 20-year-old. But at this point, listen, if men could do it, women should be able to do it too. 24 is the right about age, I feel as though. Like, if you want to date the older women, you can. I think what's happening is it's a type of older women, though. I don't think it's all older women. I think it's more of like the rich and successful ones that are kind of getting these younger guys. And these younger guys want to bag like these older, fly women. And, it does something for their ego as well. So I can't blame it all on these women because I feel like these young dudes with money, with access, with a little fame, they want an older woman. So, I'm here for it. And if it makes the girls feel young, 24 is not a bad age. Men do it all the time. So, if they like it, I love it.
PRT Diva said, no, those men are grown. And Bougie Barbie said, no to both. I will say the young men, when they go after those older women with the bags and all that, like you said, it's almost like it's like a sense of accomplishment, like, because they like to prove that I'm a man. And usually the older women little boy them or like, no, you too young. I want to prove, and they really, really try. From what I hear, they really, really try to really prove to you that they're a man and that, you should be taking them seriously. Al, what are your thoughts? Is this okay? Is it grooming? What are your thoughts?
I mean, at the end of the day, they grown can make their own decisions, but I personally don't like it. I mean, I just think 24 is so young. The low 20s is just young for a 40-year-old man or a 40-year-old woman. So let's just make sure there's no discrimination there. I don't think a 40-some-year-old man or a 50-some-year-old man should be dating a 20-some-year-old girl. And I don't think a 40 and 50-some-year-old woman should be dating a 20-some-year-old dude. Now, one thing that we do know about Keyshia Cole is she stay with a sexy man. And she's probably one of the most consistent that I have ever seen in my life. All her men are young, sexy, rich, and the ones that she made babies with make some beautiful babies. Unfortunately, though, for her, and I'm not this is not throwing salt on her, but the track record for this attraction and her consistency just hasn't been good. And I honestly, Keyshia Cole and her music make me want her to find love and it last. That's the type of music she makes to me because it just sings to my soul. So for me, at the end of the day, whether it's young or old, I just want, for me, Keyshia Cole, to find somebody to make her happy and it be long term.
If her dating these young guys and it not working out, she's like a kind of like a younger Mary J. Blige. Like, when you have those painful breakups, gives us this good music. Then I say keep on going with them young, sexy guys that it doesn't really work out with. Personally, that's not my thing. When I was in my 30s and early 40s, I never wanted anyone my own age. I wanted like 30. I wanted people that were younger than me. But now at this age, I found like some sexiness in men my age, or, I won't say a lot older, but I see that I just attracted to different things. But I do listen. If you tried and it didn't work out and you are up there in age, we about to have World War III, ladies and gentlemen. The water is messed up. Another COVID is coming. I don't know what the future is going to hold in this country. We might have Trump again. Go ahead and do what you want to do in these last days and get you some good hot sex from a man who can keep an erection, that has great skin, great teeth, and that can blow that back out. Because let me tell you something. I'm at it. I'm just.
So let me ask you this, Claudia. How old was KJ?
He was only 3 years younger than me, but everyone thought he was so much younger.
Yeah, he looks very young.
He has a baby there. And the way he just has he's 47, but he looks so young.
But I was going to say, I feel like it's important because a lot of times women are always like age with this time clock. So I kind of like now that guys are seeing older women desirable, because for a long time, a woman gets 30, 35, then they start feeling less desirable. Like that, we've been kind of conditioned to think that women aren't attractive once they hit 35. So now women are in this new phase of like 40 is the new 25 for me. And like now men want me. But I will say this, ladies, before you start jumping out there, getting into your bag with the young guys, take a look at these 50-year-olds and these 40-year-olds. These is bad chicks, okay? They got their bodies together. They got their bag together. They don't look like your average grandma walking down the street. You know what I mean? You got to have that look, though, too, if you're going to get these young guys. You can't be walking around just all bent up out of shape thinking you're going to get you a fly young rich nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Today's 40 and 50-year-olds. Today's 40 and 50-year-olds ain't like the ones we grew up with, like our school teachers. They looked all Quaker oat-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't look like that anymore. LaShawn Monique said, you don't date younger guys. You just have fun and leave them where they're at. Sex toy. Okay.
Yeah, a lot.
And so D'Angelo said, dating these young men are why she keeps singing these sad love songs. And someone should ask Claudia, would you date a younger guy? If so, who? I like people my age now.
Would you go to 35?
You'd have to, if you're like exceptionally, like if I could talk to you, we have a lot in common. If we laugh a lot, I can deal with you.
Rich football player, Bill, mansion, money, 35, 30 years old.
Oh, you said the man. I like a strong jawline. So Armand, you just hit the net. My brother's like, you always date that man with them Superman chins, some superhero chin. Yes, I love that strong jawline. Don't give me no slack jawline, them weak chins. I like a strong.
You're a cougar too.
I'm retired, but I can come out of retirement. Yes. Speaking of dating, YouTuber Shara7 took to social media to speak about dating unattractive men. Take a look.
So you find a provider, but he ugly. I'm embarrassed to be seen in public with him. I would be embarrassed to be seen in public at work. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I would walk into any place with an ugly old man any day than walk into a job and clock in and say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And I'm sorry I'm late. And can I take tomorrow off? I'm sorry. I'd rather walk into the ugliest dude ever than have to do all of that. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Would you seriously date guys you weren't attracted to if that means you were taken care of financially? You know where I'm going first. Al Reynolds. What do you think about this?
Listen, I have 100 jobs, so to be taken care of financially, no. I feel like, and this is what my comment was going to be, what are we doing, ladies? Like, what is really going on? Why would you ever want to rely 110% on a man financially? That's just not smart. What happened to the days of women chasing their careers? Now, if you got a career and still meet a very wealthy man who's not attractive, would I date him? Heck yeah. I don't, looks aren't that important to me. Things at this age for me that are important is stability, both emotionally, mentally, someone who's got good credit, someone who's got a decent job, someone who's healthy. The looks aren't that important to me. And the more money you got, the uglier you can be.
Armand, you go before I.
I'll just say this. Sometimes like this, it makes me glad I'm gay because, child, she sound lazy. She don't want to work, right. And I need you to work. Like, I can't with that because, as ugly as that fool might be, he's still going to want some head. And, you're going to have to put your pride to the side and do what you got to do. And I just couldn't possibly do that at the end of the day.
Well, you ain't got to look at his face when you're giving him head.
But they going to be wanting to kiss and take you out and hold you. When they real ugly like that and they got the bag, they want people to know that they got somebody. So you're going to have to really show out in public. You know what I mean? So I just don't feel like I can stomach that kind of energy. However, on the flip side, though, I like an average look, like for a relationship. Now, if I'm just doing a hookup kind of vibe, you can be above average. But like, if I'm doing a relationship or if you got like money, like you can just be average to medium because that's when you're going to be really committed to me. You're going to probably treat me right. The ones that's super fine and all it, like, it's a lot of drama. They're going to be cheaters. They're going to be hoes. You're not going to be happy. So give me somebody average with good credit, financial stability, you know what I mean? And treats me right and grows with me, and I'm happy.
So wait a minute, Armand. So where do you land on that spectrum?
I feel like I'm average.
Oh, okay. All right.
I cannot do
being
ugly.
Modest tonight.
I feel like I am.
I cannot do ugly. I will not do ugly. I will do single, lonely, and broke before I do ugly. I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be with no good animal because you make life a little bit easier when I know I'm able-bodied and I can go work. I don't want something unattractive. I don't want something looking like a puffer fish in my bed looking at me all, what we doing?
But what if his body was nice and and his family come from good family, good stock? He just didn't win the face card. What if everything else was cool?
No.
He made you laugh.
No.
Well, it depends on what's ugly because if the face is just not proportioned right, I can get with that. But if the teeth are a mess, it's a no.
I like a man that takes care of his teeth. I like a man that takes care of his body. I like a man that knows how to communicate. I like a man that pays attention. And I like fine men. I like attractive men. And guess what? It is possible because I've had quite a few baddies in my life. Okay, I don't do ugly men. I do not do ugly men because I don't have to do ugly men. I like fine, successful, and body. And guess what? The trifecta is out there. Talented, fine, and sexy. They all exist out there.
But they cheat and lie.
Some of them do, and some of them don't. You got to catch them.
Cheat and lie.
Ugly men cheat too. Look at Simon. This, you know what?
Dang.
He's rich though. He rich. That's why.
Okay. Is he? How?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with
You know
Well, he
what?
got good teeth.
He bought those. Okay, yeah, he does. He has good teeth now. But I'm just saying, ugly men cheat too. And not to single out him, but there's unattractive men that cheat too.
But I know a lot of women, they kind of like their, especially like really pretty girls. I feel like women kind of like their men to be a little bit ugly because they're not competing in the bathroom. You know what I mean?
True.
So they get to feel like the prize. You know, when your man is too attractive, women don't really like that because they don't get to feel like the pretty one.
I get that a lot.
That's definitely, what'd you say?
I said I get that a lot.
You know, that's definitely a thing. Like, as long as ain't nothing sexier than a man that's fine that doesn't tell you he's fine. Like, that's when we were talking about that whole catch thing.
That ain't gonna work.
That makes me want to jump all over you when you are just like attractive and you're not even like reminding me of it. Like, you gonna get a whole bunch from me behaving like that, being fine and humble. I know I'm asking for a unicorn right here, but there's a couple unicorns out there. I'm just saying. Okay, let's move on because coming up next, find out what happened when a woman flew over 1,500 miles for her man. And later we answer some T-mail. We'll be right back.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Please welcome Al Reynolds and our new official coach, Armand Wiggins, who has brought lots of fire to the show.
TGIF.
To be here, being unapologetically me on a platform like this, I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to make magic with you guys.
Every weekday.
I knew you were the right person because you make me want to be better as myself. So thank you for that.
On Fox Soul.
You're going to get graphics from time to time. That's part of being part of the TGI family.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
My mom wanted my life to be better than what she had as a kid. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. You always want the next generation to have something better than what you had.
Welcome back to TGIF. Shout out to all the people in the chat, keeping it popping in there. They are trying to just guess who we talking about and who we want to date and who we should be with. We'll get to that another time. This show is sponsored by Better Help. And, relationships are so important, especially as we're getting older and maintaining and having more healthy relationships. And sometimes you got to go through some rough patches. And I know I've definitely had that with people where we had to like really get to an understanding. And that comes through just being more centered and evolved. And I think that this is going to help you. Now, if you're thinking of starting therapy, which I think a lot of us need, give BetterHelp a try, especially since it's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. And all you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/TGIF today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TGIF. Al, let me go to you. How have you benefited from therapy?
Oh, I've been in therapy for a long time, Claudia, and I gotta say, the best benefit for therapy that I have gotten is that it helps me sort out my thoughts, my feelings, and it helps me calibrate whether it makes sense or not. So I use my therapist as like kind of like a life coach. I think I've said that before on here. And they help me organize am I overthinking this? Am I underthinking? Am I being too emotional? Am I being not emotional enough? Where are my traumas coming from that's making me repeat the same thing? So for me, I think therapy is amazing. And anything that can help you get to the point where you can do therapy, I would be all for it.
All right. Thanks for sharing. Promotional considerations furnished by BetterHelp. All right. Let's get back into some more topics. River Blake, a 23-year-old woman from Louisiana, flew to South Dakota to meet the man she'd been talking to online for 3 years. She packed enough clothes to go for weeks because he wanted her to move in. However, when she got there, he ghosted her and never showed up. Do you think he was married or got cold feet? And what is the most desperate thing you did for love that backfired? Armand, let's go to you first. What do you think?
I feel bad for her. You know, a lot of people I saw in the comments saying that she was dumb. She should have never did it. But I feel like after 3 years, talking to this guy, I'm assuming she would have FaceTimed him and spoken with him, you know, via video chat and obviously seen what he looked like. I probably would have made the move too. You know, because when you get on the phone with these people know how to really get you going and sell you a dream. So I feel like when she actually did it, you know, he wasn't living the life that he told her over the phone, you know, and it has happened to me before, not to this extent, but I was 18 and I was talking to this guy and we were, you know, having a phone relationship. And, you know, one day I was supposed to meet him, but he would never meet up with me. And I figured out later on he was hiding that, you know, he was just a drag queen and all that stuff. And that wasn't my interest at the time, but he had a whole double life. And so, you know, we never ended up meeting, but, you know, you sit on the phone for hours and hours and you're cooking together, you're talking, you're watching movies together. You can really fall in love over the phone, you know, and then you just get disappointed. So I feel her. I've been there before.
Oh, all right. Al, what do you think?
I can fall in love over the phone, but like I said, it's 2024. There's no way I'm not going to see you. You're going to FaceTime me. There's no way I'm not going to have an address or know something about additional people about you before I go from Louisiana to South Dakota. This is also an example of what I just said. Women, you cannot depend on men in this fashion because look, when you do, this can happen to you. Now you're in South Dakota. You thought you were going to be there for months. You thought you were moving in with him now. You only got a one-way ticket. Now you got to figure out how I'm going to get home. So I just don't think it's smart. I think in 2024, there are too many ways to double check stuff to find yourself in these type of situations. I do want to say, though, that when you're young, you make mistakes, and that's fine. Because I remember when I was young, I loaned a particular person that I was dating a very large sum of money. And I don't mean just $5,000, but a large sum of money. And they ended up not, you know, skipping town. And, you know, trying to, you know, never hear from them again. And that was devastating to me. That like took me out, like more than the relationship. Just like when you lend people money or you co-sign for them for a car or you do something like that to help somebody financially and they just like totally stick you with the bill, that to me hurts more than like ending a relationship to me, because it's the betrayal, it's the mistrust, it's like the deceit, all of that percolates for me, and I just want to put my arms around their neck and like hurt them.
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with a little slappy slap if they did something like that. I had to put hands on something for about $28,000 one time, and yeah, I get that. You like, wait, you don't lie to me and take my money? Pick one. As for this girl, did she never FaceTime this guy the entire time? Is that correct?
I don't know.
I mean, they didn't tell you if she FaceTimed them or not, but all she did, yeah, they talked. But she showed up at the location and he wasn't there.
I think this is really cool, but I'm sure you guys watch Catfish. And I watch it because I like to know the psychology, the why people do what they do. And a lot of times, just miserable people, they just like get a kick out of like leading people on or just having a double life and have no real intentions of really living the life that they say. They make these big promises like, yeah, we're gonna get married or you move here, I can't wait. knowing that they got a girlfriend or a wife or a boyfriend, or they live with their mama, or nothing was what they said it was, you know, and just like misrepresenting themselves online to kind of feel bigger and better about themselves. I think that's really messed up to mess with someone like that. In 3 years, I wouldn't call her stupid for talking to someone for 3 years, because I think that's a substantial amount of time. Like, wouldn't you think you would know someone after 3 years? I would think,
Yeah.
you know. All right, well, poor thing. Luckily, you know what, she lived, because there's people out here that don't survive something like that. Jermaine Tart said people don't ask what they need to ask when dating. That happens too. All right, keep it locked, because coming up next, find out what happened to a mom who left her young kids at home while on vacation. And later, guess what your dildo could be doing? Oh Lord, stay tuned.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
Please welcome Al Reynolds and our new official co-host, Armand Wiggins, who has brought lots of fire to the show.
TGIF.
To be here, being unapologetically me on a platform like this, I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to make magic with you guys.
Every weekday.
I knew you were the right person because you make me want to be better as myself. So thank you for that.
On Fox Soul.
You're going to get graphics from time to time. That's part of being part of the TGI family.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, "I want him. He's got to come home with me." Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with turtle is a perfect day.
Welcome back to the show. It's now time for us to give advice to our soulmates who are dealing with crazy situations and may need a little guidance. This is our T-mail of the day. All right, this T-mail comes from Texas, from Brianna in Houston, Texas. She writes, "Hey, my TGIF family. I asked my best friend to watch Sniffy, my dog, because I had to go out of town for 2 days. It's been over a month. And I just found out that she took my dog over to a friend's house for them to watch while she went to the club because they also have a dog. Not only was Sniffy eating table food, which I never give him, but he also got their dog pregnant. I'm upset with my best friend for taking him over there, but I'm also into it with her friend because she's upset with me because I feel I'm entitled to have half of the puppies when they're born. What should I do?" Let's start with you, Al.
Jeez, Wiz, there's so much going on. Okay, so should you be mad at your friend for passing your dog along? Yes, but I think that's something you can get over, right? You can get over because you had an event, you wanted somebody to watch them. She wanted to go to the club, so she got somebody she wanted to watch them. Okay, I think we can get over that. Now, do you deserve to get half of the puppies that your dog created? I say if your dog helped create them, of course you should at least get half of the puppies. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Now, what should you do if she's saying no? I don't know what the laws are around, puppy sharing and puppy mating, but I'm pretty sure there are some, so I would seek legal advice.
Okay, Armand, what do you think about this story?
If you're so upset that your friend kept the dog and took him over there, you shouldn't want the puppies. But the fact that you want the puppies cancels out you being upset with your friend. Okay, maybe she shouldn't have did it, but you obviously don't care about it that much because now you want more dogs. So, I would get over that. And yes, you are entitled to the puppies, but you have an attitude with your friend. At this point, that's null and void because now we're talking about the dogs and the puppies. Like, I could understand if you didn't want the puppies and stuff at all, you didn't want to deal with that burden, then be upset. But the fact that you now are into it with her friend for the other dogs, then that's the bigger problem. And you guys need to work that out, but not being upset with your friend.
Yeah, because both friends did the same thing. They both passed the dog off to somebody else. And this is what happens. You don't know, And I mean, if I left my cat with someone and then they said, hey, I brought it to someone else's house, I'd be like, hey, hold up, let me know, I guess. But now that there's puppies involved, I'm guessing they're probably valuable and they want to sell them.
Yeah, probably, right?
But if you over here looking for babysitters for one dog, you're going to have your hands full with like 3 more. So I don't know. This sounds like don't this sound like a little ghetto mess, don't it?
This sounds like something good for like court, like one of those court case shows, like Judge Judy or... Well, no, that's small claims. We don't know how much the dogs are worth because the dogs could be worth more than $5,000. But anyway, it sounds like a Judge Judy situation.
All right. Okay. Have your pet spayed or neutered, I guess, if you don't want puppies. But if you want that money, I guess you take them to court. Soulmates, be sure to DM Fox Soul on Instagram if you are in need of some advice. Who knows? Your letter just might get read here live on the show. All right. Moving on. Let's jump back into some topics. Speaking of babysitters, a Texas mom left her 8- and 6-year-old kids at home alone because she couldn't secure a babysitter. Lakeisha Woods Williams left them for days to go out of the country on a cruise vacation. What do you think of this mess? And how old were you all when you were able to be left home alone? Armand, what do you think about this?
I feel like I started getting left at home by myself around 12. You know what I mean? Maybe even 10, but it was like, for an hour or two, like they'd be like, we'll be right back. Don't open the door for nobody, and they'd call me and check on me. But this is ghetto. Now you done left your kids at home and you on a cruise. Like, it's not enough party in the world. But this is that social media culture. And shout out to my girl, Sexy Red. I love her. But this is that Sexy Red, Suki Hana, culture. Like, girl, ain't no kids stopping this. You know what I mean? We'll hook up the baby monitors and FaceTime them bad baby kids. They'll be all right. Nobody will know that they in there. However, the nosy neighbors caught on to it. And they ended up doing a wellness check. And, now the kids are gone. Because she wants to go turn up on a cruise. It's super ghetto. And, people like this shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, I agree. Al, what do you think?
I'm with you on this one, Amon. I mean, this is irresponsibility at its finest. And the funny part is this was in a luxury high rise and she went on a luxury cruise. It would seem to me if you can afford a luxury high rise and a luxury cruise that you could afford a luxury babysitter. Like, this just doesn't make any sense across the board. One thing I would never, ever, ever cut cost on is people watching my child. I would stay in a lower end apartment building or go on a lower end cruise before I would cut costs and hire my cousin Ray Ray, who she allegedly said abandoned the agreement to watch the kids and took the money and ran. Why is it that you can live in a luxury high rise, go on a luxury cruise, but hire Ray Ray to watch your kids? Something about this is not making any sense to me, and I think she deserves whatever she receives.
There's people who leave their kids in the car and they don't survive that, like to go run errands or whatever, and they die from that. And I just think this is just horrible. Your hair's done. You got a 24-inch weave in. You got your hair done. You're going on cruises. You live in a nice place, but your kids is a place where you skimp on. I mean, first of all, I do understand. I mean, I'm not a mother. No one here's a parent, but I do understand that you may need a break. You are entitled to that. But you're not in need of a break so much that you sacrifice the well-being of your children. Your kids could have been playing with matches in there. They could have been getting in all kind of stuff. Someone could have knocked on the door. They could have opened the door. They could have gotten killed. And the fact that how could you even be comfortable to relax and to have fun on a cruise when 8- and 6-year-old kids are left behind at the house? I have cats that I worry about after a few days where I'm like, I got to get my behind home. And these are your kids. Was the father not an option? Was your mom not an option? And the fact that you were on a cruise partying or even relaxing, it's just, it's trash. I'm sorry. I got to call a spade a spade. I think it's terrible. Lady TC said, send her butt under the jail. I was 16 when my parents would go out of town. Auntie Meemaw said, this chick is the type that will move any old man in the house with her kids. And Jesse said, thank God for nosy neighbors. They are good for something. And not just leaving, town, but leaving the country.
Yeah.
Leaving the country. Come on,
like,
sis.
and it's like, I could see almost doing that with the dog. You pound on a bunch of water, you set the food up. Like, how do they eat? Do you just put out a bunch of Lunchables for a week on the floor? Like,
well, that's what the article said. Remember, the article said it was just shoveled. There was food all over. It smelled like urine. It was nasty. Crazy. However, she still checked in with them, and the 8-year-old son, had a phone that he could text her. So it's just
But you're on a cruise. There's so many dead spots on cruises where you can't really, your phone, you're out of reach or whatever. Like, it's still whack as hell. It's ghetto. It's disgusting and it's embarrassing. And I hate this for her. There's so many people out here that want kids that can't have them. I'm not one of them, but there's people out there that want them. And here you are just abandoning your children so you can be just for a vacation. Take your kids on a vacation with you. All right, y'all.
That's how we get drug dealers. Just like that. Those kind of boys like that. Leaving them like that. That's how you get criminals as freaking kids.
Yeah, among other things. All right, coming up, what questions should be off limits on a first date? Let's get into it. When we come back, we'll be right back. Keep it locked.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out.
Please welcome Al Reynolds and our new official co-host, Armand Wiggins, who has brought lots of fire to the show.
TGIF.
To be here, being unapologetically me on a platform like this, I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to make magic with you guys.
Every weekday.
I knew you were the right person because you make me want to be better as myself. So thank you for that.
On Fox Soul.
You're going to get graphics from time to time. That's part of being part of the TGI family.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's got to come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with turtle is a perfect day.
Welcome back to the show. All right, on Twitter, Charlie B tweeted, asking a man what he does for a living is not a first or second date question. Do y'all agree, or is this important information to know in the beginning? Al, what do you think?
Listen, I don't agree. I'm sorry. I think you should. Okay. When I think about the 5 questions I asked, one of them is, what do you do? I don't ask that the first thing because that could be pretentious, but eventually in the top 5, what do you do? Where are you from? Tell me about your family background. Do you have any kids? And maybe I'll say, what is your sign? So that I could sneak in other interpretations of what I might think about them. Mm-hmm. But definitely one of the 5 of those that I just said, what do you do is going to be one of them.
What's off limits to talk about? What do you think to ask about? What do you think is too much?
How many kids well, no, I think kids is fair. Off limits, how much money you make a year.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bit much to ask.
That's intrusive on the first date. What else?
That's a good one. Armand, what do you think about this?
I feel like I'm doing the what do you do before I even go on the date. Not like, you know what I mean? As I'm getting to know you to even consider like going on a date at this age now, I kind of need to know these things, you know, especially with the line of work that we're in. We need to know intention. Like, why are you here? What do you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you here for? Why are you courting me? Why are you reaching out? So, you know, casually, you know, I kind of want to know who you are before I even decide to go on a date because, you know, that might excite me to go a little bit further. Now, some things that, you know, in our world, because I am gay, you know, it could be a little bit intrusive on the first date to ask about sexual health and status, but that is coming. That does come, though, shortly for me. Gotcha. I do talk about testing and sexual health a lot because that's very important to me because in certain situations, that could be a make or break just for, you know, my life. So that's one of those things that I don't ask right away, but I will ask as it progresses on. But I definitely need to know, you know, what you do before we even get on the date. And then I want to know what your status is later on.
I definitely want to know what you do because out here, you just never know. There's a lot of scammers. I think on the first date, off limits, don't ask me anything sexual on the first date. I think that's like, it's making me think you're thinking about screwing me before you even have any idea what my mind is about, what kind of person I am. And I mean, but I guess you're telling me out the gate that this is going to be a physical thing. Yeah, sexual things, but I definitely want to know what you do. I want to know where you come from. I want to know this is a question I like to ask, maybe not on the first date. I go, what would most of your exes, what would their complaint be about you? Or what was a good thing that they say about you? Because usually it'll tell a lot if they all say the same thing. Like a lot of people will give me feedback. And, you know, I bet if we asked our exes, they would have similar things to say like about you. Like, well, they're too much of a procrastinator, or they work too hard, or they're too self-centered, or whatever it is. And a lot of times you can get some answers. But yeah, don't ask me anything sexual on the first date because I'm going to be super, super turned off. Now, if the first date goes well, that second date, you can ask me about it. We can start the little fresh talking, but don't come out the gate with that. That's a bit much. Okay. Nicole Scott said, I need questions answered before the first date. And Ashley Basie said, credit score is weird. It says more about the questionnaire than the questioned, like asking for. Okay. All right. On a recent episode of the No Homo Show, a woman revealed that she gave multiple partners trichomoniasis while using a dildo. Explained that after two ladies accused her of giving them trick, she got the dildo tested and the results came back positive. Y'all know? I mean, I guess you can.
Cheryl, listen, let me tell you something. I love my gay people. I love my girls, but you know, it's gotten so bad. These studs want to be men so bad, they'll even be the dirty ones. You know, it's like now because the video she talking about, yeah, I went in her raw, you know what I mean? And it was what it was. She got the trick. And I'm just like, yo, like, you got to clean that stuff. And you don't brag about that stuff. You don't brag about that stuff. That's not something you boast about and then say it is what it is. They didn't care about themselves. It's just kind of like, you know, sometimes you can be gay, you can be, you know, you can be masculine, but I just feel like you don't have to try to take on these trashy traits of masculinity. It's not cool. It's not a good look. It was a little bit weird because she was bragging about it. And I feel like that's something that would, like a dirty dude would do.
But don't they both do it? I mean, you have
that's so funny, Armand, that you said that because I disagree. I loved hearing this and seeing this. I love the fact that we put it on our platform because no other platforms give lesbian women an opportunity to talk freely about their sex life and how even studs, how they, you know, journey through life and journey through conversations and journey through relationships. I was proud of the producers for putting this in the docket. I mean, I really was, because I was like, I'm now going to look up that podcast because I feel like we give so many opportunities for gay Black men to be whoever they want to be and talk about whatever they want to talk about and freely. And we're not supposed to judge them or throw stones. And I feel that way with these ladies. I want to say thank you for the producers for putting it on here. I liked it. And I think maybe we should do more.
I'm judging a woman with trick on her dildo. I am judging a man that lets too many people bust it open in him. I'm judging because that is nasty. And that is not something that is a man or a woman thing. That is a nasty person thing. Sitting here with a dirty dildo going up in multiple people without washing that thing off. It takes 2 minutes. That is not cute. That is not sexy. That is not groundbreaking. And we're not going to act like she's the Rosa Parks of
I know. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
just saying,
us.
I'm
talking about us covering the topic of.
I like that too, but
women.
she seemed a little bit
I like the lesbian
braggadocious
women
about it.
topic. I like it. Now, her being what they are, that's a different story. But I like us discussing and opening up a forum where lesbian women can find content that for them here as well.
I like it too.
Well, these women do not represent the majority of lesbian women, I hope. I think this is just a trifling one that got multiple people sick with a dildo. Ugh. I want to thank my co-host.
There's some hoes in all
Al Reynolds and Armand Wiggins for joining me tonight. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Stay tuned for Fox Soul's Face Off. See you tomorrow. Lesbians, wash your dildos. Fellas, don't bust it open, everybody. Good night. Bye.